guys, welcome to the channel. Today's video is kind of special. I'm doing this video for two reasons. One, look at this beautiful 2014 Wake 155. I cannot find anything wrong with this jet ski. It's perfect. Literally, it looks like a brand new jet ski. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this thing. Beautiful, aesthetically. But I think he made a mistake. It's not a mistake. He didn't know. And I see this happen a lot. Basically, his pump went bad, jet pump. He fixed it himself, which is great. I always tell you guys, do it yourself. Perfect. I mean, if you get stuck, then you can always bring it to someone like me. So the pump broke. He fixed it, and he put it back together. The jet ski worked for about, what did he say, about a week, and it seized up. The starter just goes tick tack, one of those tick tack. You know it's bad when the starter goes tick tack. So we're gonna find out what it is. I did put a pair of pliers on the drive shaft to see if the motor, if it's a starter or a relay or it's actual motor locked up. I wanted, that was my initial bad news to him. I put the pliers on it and it was locked. So something went bad. Either his pump, he's praying that it's his pump, that he did something wrong and the pump seized up. I have another theory. I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm not going to say it right now. Well, come on, I got to tell you guys before I take everything apart. Look at this thing. Oh my God, it's beautiful, gorgeous. So I think when the pump broke, it pushed the drive shaft forward and it busted, it burned, it broke the thrust washers on the engine and the motor seized up. So I think that is what I think happened. So we're gonna take the pump, we're gonna go in steps, we're gonna take the pump out and see if it's the pump. Let's see what happened. All right, so we took out the pump and that's my drum thing, drums. It's not the pump. This is fine. It's a little beat up. Actually, it's not too bad. It's just surface stuff. Got a little sand in there, but it's not the pump. So it's definitely something to do with the engine. We are going to, you guys and me, we're gonna take out the engine and take it apart and see if my theory is right. So now I'm a little confused because usually, unless I have to talk to the client and see what exactly they did when when the pump broke, did they replace a carbon seal and they replace this little bump on the front? You see, it's brand new. Usually when the pump breaks and the drive shaft push forward, this little bumper thingy here gets really smashed. Well, this one is perfect. So I don't know if they replaced this. So now I was questioning my theory and I say, it is a 155. And 155, they're known for the pistons to break because people use 87 octane gas. And you're supposed to use 93. It's a high compression motor. So I don't care what anybody says. High compression motor, 10-to-1, you need 93. You need premium fuel. So I see it all the time when I take apart jet skis that have issues, 155s, 185s, or whatever they are, on motor. The bearing, the top bearing is beat, like really beat up, and that's detonation. So don't tell me, because I know, because I take the motors apart. And the people who use 93, that bearing is brand new, like it's supposed to be. Normal wear. So gotta use 93 premium fuel on your own motor jet skis. So I took the spark plugs out and I check, and all the pistons they look good. So now I'm a little confused. Anyway, the motor's gonna come out and it's gonna be a surprise for me. Or I might just call the client and I'll let you guys know. Well, I see salt water, and if we look inside the motor, there's evidence of salt water being in there. Oh man, I wonder if this is one of those surprise me things that the client doesn't really know, or they do know, and they ignore the problem. Oh, I don't know what happened, and the jet ski sunk. I don't think this is the case. It's gonna be interesting, because now there's definitely a problem, but it doesn't, what's the word I'm trying to figure out? What the customer is telling me and what I'm seeing are two different things. So this might be interesting. Huh. I'm taking it step by step. I'm showing you guys what I look for as I'm going looking for the problem, so you guys know. We'll see. We keep taking it apart. All right, so another thing that it could be, maybe the timing chain break. It will lock the motor. So, but most of the time, if it breaks, the crank will spin. But sometimes the chain gets caught and it will lock the motor if it breaks. But this one, it's in there. I don't think, it doesn't look like it's broken. So that's out of the question. Just trying to see if I can figure this out before I take the motor out. I mean, I gotta take the motor out anyway, but it's just funny to me that I don't know what the heck happened here until I take the motor apart. Oh boy. I had to suffer until I take the bottom end apart. All right, let's see what happened. Another thing is, if a rod breaks, but that cannot be, because, well, it could be. If a rod breaks, but then it will break the case. All right, guys, I hate to be right, but this is all I do. All I do is Seadoos. I know my Seadoos, so I was right. Take a look at this. It spun the bearing around. This is not supposed to be here. There's two halves of the bearings. They look like this. For those of you that don't know. And one half supposed to be in there like that. It's supposed to stay in this half of the block, and the other half stays on this side of the block. Well, this one spun around, so it ruined the block. And that happens when the pump got messed up. Here's the pump. He bought a brand new pump, and the prop came this way because the bearing got messed up, and it dug itself into the wearing, and it will walk forward. So every time, if you have pump issues and you see this little guy busted, completely like disintegrated, you got bigger problems. So with that said, if you hear a noise on your jet ski, take care of it, or it's gonna cost you more money later. That's exactly what happened here. So since it went forward, it messed up the thrust bearing. You see this little thing here is a thrust bearing. There's one here and there's one on this side. Here it is. So that keeps the crank from going that way or this way. If you take a look at this one right here, you see how shiny it is? But then if you look at this one, it's completely scratched. Right there. And it's discolored. It overheated itself. So when it goes this way, then it messes up this rod. These rods, for some reason, they give a little bit. But this one is messed up. You see how it's this color? Completely blue. And look at this one. And this one. These two are good. This one is bad. So the damage here is new crank, new block, and a new rod. And of course gaskets, and since we're already here and we know that there was water in here, we're gonna redo the head, do a valve job on it, and resurface the head. Very important, because the block I'm getting, I'm sending it to the machine shop. They're gonna hone it a little bit and resurface it and resurface the head, new head gasket, and you're good to go. Gotta do it the right way too. You can't cut corners. So as you guys can see, this is what it's supposed to look. And then it has this little thing here. So the bearing has like a little something. Jesus, I can't find my words. So it will stay there. So you put the bearing in there and it stays in there. It locks itself. So it locks itself so it doesn't spin around. Well, this one spun around. There's a big groove here, and there's a groove on this side from the bearing. So this is no good. And besides, these two guys are married to each other. This case belongs to this, because when they machine all this, they line horn this, so everything is nice and even. So these two are together. Oh, look at that! You can see the metal right here. Woohoo! So that's all we got. We're gonna get all the parts, get this together, and put it together, put it in the ski, and give it back to the client. So that is the plan. All right. So just like I expected, the manifold is right here. It goes this way, and then the water box is here. When you get water comes from the back to the front of the motor. So here we go. That's water got in here, and then a little bit on this one and almost nothing on this one. So this one always gets water. So yeah, I definitely, very good idea. Even if there's no water, I mean, you tearing a motor apart, might as well spend a little bit of money and get the head redone. You get more power in case you have an issue with a little bit of compression leaking through the valves. The machine shop will make it nice and perfect for you, and you have full power again. If you do shortcuts, then that's up to you. All right, so let's get the head off and see what else we find. Head looks fine, the pistons looks fine, so we're good. All right, so this is what a normal crank looks like, and this is this one. Yeah, I think we had a problem. No wonder it locked. Yep. All right, so another problem I have is people putting regular gas, 87 octane, on 155s, on motor, no supercharger, Seadoo motors. The problem is the compression. This is a supercharger piston. You see how it has a dish? This is 8.5 to 1 compression. So it's low compression. If you look at this piston, it's flat. This is a 10 to 1, 10, 10.5, something like that. And is high compression. So just because of that, you can't, I don't care what you do in the tune, you cannot tune out compression. So you're supposed to, in my opinion, put 93 in these motors because they're high compression. And here's the proof, which I always tell everybody. This jetski had not a lot of arrows. It had low arrows. And if you look at the bearing, I'm gonna show you guys the proof that what I'm saying is true. The bearing's supposed to look like that. That's normal wear for a bearing. You can still see the color, like the silver color, the coating on the bearing. Well, look at this side. You see how it's just beat up. And this is one piston, and here is the other piston. Same thing. Right there. And then if you look at the bottom part, it's fine. Now, why? Because the piston sits like this, and detonation will push the piston down before the piston gets all the way to the top. So it beats the piston down this way, so the top bearing gets beat up. Just like this one. Over time, this will fail, and you will have it's gonna spin a bearing. So put 93 on your 155 on motors, and then this is a cast piston. You can see the colors. This is a forged piston, supercharger piston, and this is a cast piston. They're not as strong, and I seen this guys break too, completely disintegrate over time too. So use pump gas, use 93, and you're not gonna have a problem. I guarantee it.
2,000 years later.
All right, guys. So as you know, I was working in this Wake 155. Unfortunately, I lost all my footage. GoPros. You figure. Anyway, so here's some of the parts. This is the bearing. Like you can see, it's all messed up. So got the motor back in the ski. It's all ready to go. I need to top off the antifreeze a little bit. It's right here. Top it off and check the oil. Oil is good. And listen to this, baby. Woo-hoo! Now, another thing that happened is the starter got fried. I put the jetski, the motor in the jetski, got it together, and I started turning the motor very slow. I say, either the cables got burned, because you gotta remember, when the motor locked up, the owner started going, it would just go, I wouldn't move. He didn't know what was wrong with the jetski. Then he brought it to me, and I did the same thing, and then I started smelling burned cables. So I say, this thing is locked. So either sometimes the starter solenoid goes bad, the cables goes bad. The cable that runs from the battery, the negative cable, sometimes if the cable is a little iffy and it's old, it will burn up. And also the one that comes from the solenoid starter to the starter, that sometimes I've seen it melt. So obviously I knew I had a problem. I called him and said, I think your starter is messed up, because I checked the cables. Cables are okay. They're not melted or nothing. So we changed the starter, and it starts just like this. Now, before that, let's go back. The starter solenoid was bad, because when I put the motor in, I went to start it, nothing. So I changed the starter solenoid, put a new one, and that's when it started slow. Put the new starter in, and this is what we got. Listen to that thing. right, guys, so we are finished. We're finished with a Wake 155. This gorgeous jet ski. I cannot say that enough time. This jet ski is beautiful. I can't even. There's Tuli. Hey, what's going on there, girl? So I got it finished. I went to the lake, I tested it, and I forgot to film. So here we go. It's alive! It's done. And Derek right here is gonna have a lot of fun with this thing. So I'll see you guys on the next video.